friends. We are going to interrupt our regularly scheduled program with this very special episode about Limitless by Jim Kwik. I know you guys are so excited to hear about our road trip coming up to Idaho. We haven't been telling anybody anything hardly at all because we've been trying to keep everybody with bated breath wanting to hear our episodes. However, this book has become so important to us that we decided to interrupt our episode schedule to bring you this first. We thought it was important enough to jump it right in. So, without further ado.
Good morning.
Good morning.
James and Kara from Kerouacs Cruising. We've been traveling a bit and we're settled down here in Idaho. And one of the things that we've done over the winter is read a lot of books. And one of the last books we've read, or book that we read recently, is a book called Limitless by Jim Kwik. And if I say anything at all, the one thing I would say is I wish I would have read this book before I read the last 5 or 6 books I read through the winter. You guys all know we got in a car accident and we were kind of just buckled up at home and we did a lot of reading. And we just want to talk about this book because it inspired us both and we learned and really realized that we want to be lifelong learners. And this book talks about lifelong learning and steps that you can take to have a cognitive brain as you age. And me and Kara are 16-year age difference. So this book, reading it together, was really good because we had 2 different perspectives of the book.
I think the male and female dynamic, too. We just think very differently.
And I hadn't read really before this winter. I haven't read a book since, I was general manager or district manager for a restaurant and didn't really read much then either. But that's 5 years ago, 6 years ago since I've been a manager. So this book was eye-opening. It's a book that I think everybody should read. And what do you think about the book, Kara?
I think, like you said, it was kind of a game changer. I wish I had actually read it first over the winter, because not only would we probably have read more books because it taught us how to read faster, but I feel like I would have retained more of the information out of the books. He has a few key concepts. So he talks about your mindset, motivation, methods, brain health, and productivity, and then unleashing your potential. And with all of those things combined, I mean, he really not only talks about them and what they mean and how they can benefit your life, but he actually gives you actionable steps to improve all those different areas so you can truly be limitless. I mean, now I'm just hungry to learn as much as I can because I feel like it's possible. Like I truly can learn anything and everything. I just need to do it. And it's kind of amazingly empowering, really.
And the first part of the book was really about freeing your mind. And some of that was, when you grow up, you get these certain limits from the people that are around you. Unfortunately, that's teachers. It could be a school bus driver,
Siblings, parents, all of it.
Yeah, parents, everybody that you're around are really setting limitations on you that you don't even realize that they're setting. But then when you read through the Limitless book and he talks about the 7 lies of learning, it really does make sense to me anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. The limiting beliefs, the beliefs that subconsciously are holding you back from being your fullest potential. The silly little things like James used to tell me all the time, he couldn't read. He wasn't a good reader. And it had nothing to do with whether or not he actually could. It was just a belief that he held. And just by taking time to read this book and learn some new skills, I mean, you're reading way faster, that's for sure. I mean, and retaining the information better. For just that one example.
And it talks the motivation part, right? What is motivation? What motivates you, right? To me, motivation, and I've had good motivation my whole life, but motivation is having a purpose. What are you getting up for? What are you doing? Like right now, me and Kara's motivation, we have a lot of motivation. We have a grandson on the way. We're trying to develop a podcast that's going to be broadcast weekly. So we have purpose, we're getting up with purpose. We want to go down to the lake and enjoy that. We're going to work. So we're trying to improve my son's house and him and his wife's life, really. So motivation is purpose, and then purpose, drives energy. And then through the book, it talks a lot about, and I think it's true for anything, talks about you can learn anything. Genius isn't born, it's made. Them concepts, I believe that is true 100%.
And the way that he spells it out, it really ultimately changes how you feel about yourself.
It teaches you things like speed reading. Other things it teaches you is memory. I know since I've gotten older, my memory is horrible. What did we learn in school? Repetitious learning. You write down the same word 150 times. He doesn't go about it that way. So he's really teaching you how to learn. Nobody taught us how to learn.
One example with that is like focus learning. Growing up being told to focus or to concentrate, but nobody taught you how to do those things. In this book, he teaches you how to do those things. And it really, again, it's a game changer. It's
and if you go on and you look at his website, and he's got some learning online classes that you can take.
And if that's your style, absolutely. But the book for us was faster, more convenient.
The book was great.
You can do it anywhere.
What I want to emphasize is if you go online and just watch a couple of his videos from when he's demonstrated the ability of learning, he goes through a 2.5 hour conference. He'll be at a conference and he's a key speaker. And people throughout the conference for the 2.5 hours, he tells people to throw out words from different tables. And then at the end, before he gets off stage, he sits there and he'll recite those words frontwards and backwards and get them all correct. And he just teaches you how to do that in a simple, easy step. It was mind-blowing for me. The speed reading was mind-blowing. The memory, how to turn things into a story, to remember stuff and staying focused and having purpose in life. And then there was a lot of other things that he brought to the table. Most people don't talk about it. No, I never had a doctor that told me that I had to feed my brain nutrition, specific nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So that was enlightening for me. And we started it. We started almost putting everything that he talks about, and he tells you 10 things that your body needs daily for optimal performance. I easily memorize those 10 things in an easy way that I can say anytime. I'll give you the 10 to you. It's avocados, blueberries, broccoli, leafy greens, salmon, walnuts, turmeric, water, and then dark chocolate. So he talks about all those things and which each one of those specific things does for your body and the brain. He goes into a little bit deeper and he talks about different people's brain codes, their animal code. Me and Kara found out that we eat the same brain code.
So what James is trying to say is he helps you learn how your brain works and how you learn, how you think, how you process information, how you output information, and then how that differs from other types of styles and how those styles can work together. So especially when you're working in the workplace, you're working in teamwork kind of efforts, or in the home place, like James mentioned, the two of us don't think and work the same way, but knowing his brain style and how he intakes information and outputs information, and how that differs from me, helps us be able to be more conscious of how to work together to not cause conflict, but instead to create an even deeper cohesion. Again, just eye-opening to be able to look at yourself from an objective point, look at your partner in our situation in an objective point, and be able to learn how to think a little bit differently or change how you may react to something so that things remain productive as opposed to counterproductive.
We actually read the book and listened to the book. We kind of did it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I just retained more of the information.
I think not only that, your brain works differently to process information both ways when you hear something as opposed to reading it. One of the things we learned, which I think was huge, and again, I wish I'd have known this all winter, most people process or are capable of processing 400 words a minute, but most people talk at only about 150 to 200 words a minute. So you can actually listen to an audiobook on like times 4 and retain it. And it's actually better because you're less likely to get distracted. So just to give you that before you start listening to this book, you can listen to it a little bit faster. I guess it would be 2 times is what you can listen to it up to. And your brain, because now you have to focus because your brain's working harder to process these words quicker, you're not getting distracted. Your brain's not going on tangents and you're missing out on half the information because you stop paying attention for a minute. I think that's money right there for anything. You can get more done in less time because you can speed that up. Your brain is capable of processing that information and actually will probably retain more of it because you won't get distracted.
I don't even like listening to books at the average speed or the normal speed of the book.
It's slow.
That your brain's not staying engaged.
Mm-mm.
One of the things about this book, the book is not a theory, right? It's a practical, easy, proven blueprint that shows you exactly what to do and unleash your own knowledge. The book even talks about knowledge is not power. Knowledge is how you use it.
Power is how you use the knowledge. Yeah. Just knowing something isn't power.
Yeah,
you got to utilize
just
it.
to know it doesn't really do you any good unless you know how to use it to learn or to develop something.
Mm-hmm. It's like the ultimate textbook for learning. I truly believe that if you've given up on learning, if you've decided that you've learned everything you need to learn in life, you've given up, essentially, because everything's constantly changing. I think it was one thing to always learn in the past, but in this day and age, there's so much information growing and changing so quickly. We're learning more. One of the facts he put out there is it's something crazy. Like in the last 10 years, we've learned more about the brain than we did in the last 1,000 years. Information is constantly growing. To give up on learning and gaining new information and new insights so that you can have more proper opinions or be better at work or just be your best self. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be work related. It can be for your personal life, something you're personally interested in. Maybe it's child learning so that you can nurture your child the best that you can. Whatever it is, we're always learning. So this book not only teaches you how to learn faster, how to retain the information better so you're getting the most bang for your time. You're making the most of every moment of your life. But he gives you actionable steps, as James said, to put these new skills into action, but then helps you determine why you should be a life learner or why you want to learn or why you need to get something out of this book before you even start digging into it so that you stick to it. Ultimately, I feel like it helps you clarify your goals. You don't have to be getting, like James and I, we're not fighting to get to the top of a career. We're not fighting to be, like we used to be, the top of the restaurants in our company. We're fighting to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And ultimately, in my opinion, that's all any of us could want to do is be the best of ourselves. Every day be better than we were yesterday. I think that this book helps you line that out and really get comfortable with that idea.
So yeah, I agree with all that. You're trying to just get better at life and really to not be stressed out. So when you're learning things faster and you're retaining more information, your work-life balance is easier. And our work-life balance, we're trying to change our work-life balance. And this book is going to jumpstart us to be able to do that, to work less and to accomplish more. And that's what I think I foresee the book is. I learned all kinds of great tricks on retaining information better, reading faster. And he uses an analogy about reading. Average person, whatever it is, reads 200 to 300 words a minute, something like that. However long that takes you, then you turn around, you can read 800 words a minute. Think about how much faster you're reading versus the 200 or 300 words a minute. So you actually gain more time in your day because you can read materials and retain it so much faster.
And again, that goes outside of books. I mean, even if you're not going to be specifically reading books, it's going to help you get through those reports for work faster.
It's going to help
you get through your emails. Yeah, exactly. It's going to help you get through those articles in your news feed that you're reading. Whatever it is, you're nailing that stuff out faster, which gives you more time in your life.
I'm glad that Kara said that about the news feeds. He talks about limiting your distractions on your phone. Most of us are in a distracted state. Just another one. So I think you should read the book. Another one of the things that he talks about on distractions is your phone. How many times do you get an email and you stop work and you check the email, then you go back to work? It actually is a proven fact. Multitasking doesn't work. I never knew that.
And he dresses you in all the science around it so you can feel confident that that's for real.
That's just one of the things in the book. And growing up I was a fast food manager my whole life, district manager, whatever. And we told managers they had to get better at multitasking. You got to multitask better. You got to do 5, 10 things at once. To come in this book to find out that that's really a big, big lie. You actually get more done when you focus on one project or one task at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And another one is the Pomodoro, only staying focused on a project for 25 minutes, take a break from it, and then going back.
And a break isn't do something else, like go check your emails or check your social media. A break is go pee, go get some water, get something to eat. You're still kind of marinating and thinking about the task that you were doing. Your mind's still on it.
You're still finishing that project.
Yeah.
But you're going to get more done if you just it's like when I work on small engines or vehicles or whatever, sometimes you can't get this bolt and you just keep doing it. It's actually better to walk away. And then when you go back at it, you have a new approach.
A fresh approach.
A fresh approach. And he talks about that. And I totally agree with that. And you should really do it with everything you're doing. I started only reading for 25 minutes. That's what I read a day, 25 minutes a day. And you'd be surprised how fast you get through a book just reading 25 minutes a day.
Especially if you read this Limitless book first. I cannot believe, he talked about the potential of reading one book a week. And I really feel like, I was like, man, that sounds like magic. Like only crazy people can read one book a week. But now I'm reading 2 books right now. Like I definitely do think that one book a week is a totally attainable number now with a busy life. Like,
well, one of the other things, and it just goes back to reading, I could just keep going with
we could nerd
with
out
all the things that he talks about. But I grew up, when you first started reading in grade school, they had you read with your finger. And you read with your finger to follow along. As you got older, if you used your finger, people didn't make fun of you. Maybe they made fun of you. Maybe it was bullying or you pronounced a word wrong. And you got away from reading with your finger. Well, part of the book is reading with your finger is important. You read so much faster because your eyes are on that word. So you're just absorbing the word and the words to come when your finger's on it, less distracted. Sometimes people read books, and maybe you're one of these people, and he'll talk about it in the book. So I don't want to give the whole book away, and there's a lot in the book. We barely scratched the surface. But you read a book, or you're reading a paragraph, or you read one page and you're like, oh, did I read that paragraph? And you go back and read the paragraph again. When you use your finger, it keeps you on track. I really find that I started using my finger again, and I'm reading books a lot faster. And then talks about more than just using your finger, but that's just one of the key things that I bet everybody got away from by the time they were in high school.
Absolutely, yeah. Overall, for our life, for traveling even, to be able to have these tools to help us not only build our new podcasting business, but to work together better as a couple, traveling, knowing how each other's brains work. And he gives you so many tools even outside of this book to help you in life, helping us stay more organized and to plan things around, for example, I just had to build a website and editing these podcasts and building blogs and creating an online store. All of these things were a lot. This book helped me be able to learn how to organize those things, put them in, as James mentioned, small, simple steps, using the different techniques he teaches in the book, not only be able to keep just hacking away at it little by little, but to not feel like all of it needs to be done yesterday. I think one of the quotes even in this book, and definitely in the book we're reading right now, which will more than likely be our next book episode, is don't let perfect be the enemy of good, and don't let good be the enemy of done. We had put off going live with our podcast because everything wasn't perfect and we didn't have everything lined up. And we finally just got to the point, like, it doesn't matter if the store isn't live. The website doesn't have to be absolutely on point. We're putting this off because we're trying to be perfect, but let's just get it out there and then keep changing it and molding it as we go. And there's a lot of things that we wanted to do at first to go live that now that we have and everything's starting to move and flow, we're realizing things aren't as important as we thought they were. I think you get on top of all of these skills, the motivation to just do it. Stop trying to be perfect and try to nail it all out exactly how you dreamed it up in your head. Sometimes it's not going to work out that way, and that's okay. It doesn't have to, as long as you get it done and you're happy, and be happy with it, because you should be. You should be proud of what you achieved. It doesn't have to be perfect to be great.
I can't speak to it enough. And I do believe everybody should read it.
I think everybody should read this book.
Everybody should be a life learner.
Every human should read this book.
And read many books. We are probably, every time we read a book now, and probably even some of the ones we read over the winter, we're going to do an episode on, just because some of these books are life-changing.
Exactly. These books help change our life. Absolutely.
And when you even read this book, I think the last book we read was in this book. So it was so weird that he referenced a book that we just read, and that was Think and Grow Rich. And I don't want to talk about that book, but we're going to have an episode on that book, because that book was even game changer for me. It really jump-started us to do the podcast, because it was like,
to stop talking about it and just do it.
Just start doing something. Start recording and start trying to, not even start trying to, start living your dream before you're ready. Just start living it.
Because you always think, oh, when this happens, I'll be ready for that. When I have the house, when I have the job, when I have the car, when I have the spouse, when I have the kids,
when I get 50
then I'll
grand
be
in the
ready.
bank, and we'll start the podcast.
You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. You just need to do it. And that's one of the things I feel like over this winter we learned. We all just had, almost every one of us, just had a significant amount of free time over the pandemic, and we didn't achieve any of the things we always said we were going to do when we had more time, when we had more freedom. We didn't do any of those things. So it's never going to be perfect. You just got to do it. And that's definitely what we gained out of what we read this winter. And I wish I'd have read Limitless first, because I think I would have gotten more out of the other books that we read. Not only more understanding, a more fuller picture, but I would have been able to read more books. It really has been, for the two of us, a really incredible journey we've been going on, and it has inspired us to just go ahead and pull up the britches and just run. We don't have much of a safety net. We love Ryan and Deidre, and we love being available to take care of our grandbaby, who is T-minus potentially 3 weeks from being here. But, they could tell us to leave tomorrow, and we just got to figure out what we're going to do next. We don't have much of a safety net. We're just going for our dreams. We just want to do it, and we're going to do it. I think that when you do that and you have the confidence behind you, knowing that you're capable, you can do it, and this book is going to help you gain that confidence, you can achieve anything. Anybody can achieve anything. You just got to let go of those limiting beliefs and put some skills in your back pocket that give you the confidence to know that you'll make it no matter what.
I think that's enough. I think we gave them enough for everybody to buy it and read this book.
I hope so. Genuinely think every human should read this book. I don't think anybody should continue moving forward in life. This book should be given in high school, probably middle school. It should be a textbook for kids.
I believe that this book should be in every school. I believe the education system needs to be changed. And I believe that when you read this book, a lot of the things that he talks about on early learning and early child development, we all missed significantly. We never really learned how to focus. We never really learned how to learn.
And we've been reading the same since we were in the third grade.
We never really learned how to study. This book is it. I think everybody should read it. Shout out to Jim Kwik, and the book is Limitless.
And he does have a whole, if you go to kwikmind.com, so that's KWIK mind.com. Of course, we'll have the links in the show notes. He's got a whole slew of e-courses. So if you don't want to read a book, but you want the information, maybe you learn better by physically doing things and practicing things, or you need to visually see things, he's got a whole list of courses, a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe in the future we'll dig in. Like, I really want to learn how to read even faster. Do you know President John Kennedy could read 1,200 words a minute? That's incredible. That sounds like an amazing goal to me. So I would totally probably take one of his speed reading courses, but you can get a really good basic foundation of all kinds of skills that'll help you unlimit your life, unlimit yourself, and just be able to really go for improving your life and yourself.
I'll throw this out there. I read 218 words a minute. There's a little test in the book you take. And I'm not even practice reading faster. I like to read faster, but I'm not trying to push myself to 800 words, but I'm already reading 450 words a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. This book's going to upgrade your brain. You're going to learn anything faster, and you're going to unlock your exceptional life. That's all I got to say it. Thanks for joining.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you. See you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Kerouacs Cruising.
We're thrilled to have you with us.
We had a blast recording this episode and hope you enjoyed our adventures as much as we enjoyed sharing them.
For more amazing pictures and stories, visit our website and blog at kerouacscruising.com.
And join the conversation on Facebook at Kerouacs Cruising or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review.
Your support helps us reach more listeners and allows us to continue sharing our travel experiences with you.
It's a generous favor that means the world to us.
Thank you so much for listening to Kerouacs Cruising.
Until next time, happy travels.